She's constantly being like, why isn't it called KJ stealing the internet?
That doesn't flow the same.
That's what I tried to say.
Welcome back to Josh and Christy Stealing the Internet. I'm Christy.
And I'm Josh. We've got some really good Reddit stories for you today, so let's go.
Am I the asshole for rejecting my friend's request to have an open relationship with my husband?
No, I don't think that's something that you're an asshole for rejecting.
I, 30 female, have been married to my husband, 32 male, for 5 years. We have 2 beautiful kids, 5 male and 6 female, and have a very strong relationship and are happy together. Recently, my friend, Lisa, 29 female, confided in me that she has developed feelings for my husband. She said that she finds him attractive and admires our relationship, and she asked if we would consider having an open relationship so she could be with him too.
Lisa's kind of a vulture.
I was shocked and told her no, explaining that my husband and I are committed to each other and that we are not interested in an open relationship. Lisa got upset and accused me of being selfish and close-minded. She argued that modern relationships should be flexible and that I was denying her happiness.
It sounds like husband and OP are very happy. It sounds like Lisa just wants to vulture some of that happiness.
Hey, I noticed that you found a good man. I was wondering if you would let me have him.
Right.
Since then, Lisa has been distant and has been spreading rumors in our friend group, suggesting that I am overly possessive and controlling. This has caused a lot of tension, and some of our mutual friends are now taking sides. My husband is supportive of my decision, but I feel guilty for the drama it has caused. So, am I the asshole for rejecting my friend's request to have an open relationship with my husband?
I think OP is handling this way too calmly.
Right? I think so too. I'd be like, what the fuck? No, you can't sleep with my husband, and immediately cut that friend off.
Right? No.
That is an outrageous ask.
It sounds like husband's not doing anything other than maybe being basic level of courtesy to Lisa.
Yeah.
It's not like husband's flirting or anything.
I do want to get husband's perspective on this, because if Lisa's so upset, and what if husband's like, no, I don't want to sleep with Lisa, and like the whole question is moot.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, does husband even find Lisa attractive? Not that you have to ask, honestly. Husband finds you attractive, and he's happy monogamous.
Yeah, but this is an outrageous ask, in my opinion, and she's not taking the denial of her request well.
Right? That would kill it immediately, but also you are not obligated at all to ask your husband for his opinion on your friends.
True. Edit, this attracted a lot more attention very fast than I thought it would. I've read most of your comments, and I think tomorrow I will talk with the whole friend group about it, and I'll update later. Update 1. After reading some of your comments, I decided to bring the friend group out for coffee and told them all about what Lisa said in the real story. I also showed them the Reddit post, and after showing them, there were 2 girls that were still on Lisa's side. So I took some advice from the comments, and I said, let Lisa fuck your husband then.
Yeah, what's up with these 2 friends? Do they also want to fuck your husband?
I don't know.
So your husband must be super hot.
Yeah, right? A good provider, super hot, good dad. They're like, yeah, he is an all-around great guy. I want him for myself.
Open up that relationship, girl.
So I took some advice from the comments and said, let Lisa fuck your husband, then you can be on her side. After that, everyone was on my side, thankfully. I like that she had to pull out that to like get across her point to those last 2 holdouts, but then they were like, oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. No, I don't want to share either.
Lisa wasn't happy at all, and she started ranting about how it wasn't fair, and she just wanted to experiment something new, and that it wasn't even that bad of a request. You're making it such a big deal, which I didn't get. Me and the rest of the friend group have officially cut contact with Lisa, just hoping she doesn't try to reach out. We'll update if something happens. Also just clarifying that Lisa also asked my husband for an open marriage, and he also rejected her, saying that even if I was in an open marriage, I would never want to go out with you.
Oh no. I mean, oh yeah, that's good. Sorry. I felt bad for Lisa for a moment. But no, you don't have to feel bad for Lisa.
I'm thinking of cutting off the ladies that were on Lisa's side for so long, but I'm not sure if they heard a different story or not, so should I?
I mean, you could just ask them.
Yeah.
Be like, what?
Why were you on Lisa's side?
Yeah, I gotta know.
Yeah, what story did they get that even after she told them her side of the story, they were like, nah, you should let Lisa sleep with your husband. Also, like, I can't believe that Lisa got all these other ladies involved in this. And, like, just leave OP alone in her marriage and don't bring your whole friend group in to try and break her marriage up.
Yeah, right? Why does this have to be a friend group issue?
Yeah.
Lisa's preemptively spreading chaos.
And trying to turn the friend group to her side,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So that she can pick a different husband to go after next.
Yeah, that's a crazy request.
That is insane. It's got to be up to the couple
Yeah.
to initiate something like that, I guess. I don't know how you initiate something like that. It's not an issue for me, I guess.
Oh, good. I like that. I was going to say, I'm like, even if you're, like, comfortable enough with your friend that you feel like you're okay bringing this up and being like, hey, have you ever considered opening up your marriage and having an open relationship? You gotta be okay if they say no. You can't then throw a hissy fit, right?
Yeah, you gotta be more subtle about it, I think. Be like, have you ever thought about it? Wouldn't that be crazy?
And just, like, feel them out.
Yeah, you gotta feel them out a little, not just immediately pop up and be like, hey.
I wanna fuck your husband. Can I? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean no?
Yeah, Lisa's not even interested in the wife at all, is she?
No. She doesn't want to have a threesome. She just wants them to have an open marriage so that the husband is allowed to sleep around without it being considered cheating.
Right.
She doesn't care who Lisa goes and sleeps with then.
Yeah, it's not like she wants a polyamorous thing or anything.
No, only interested in the husband.
Yeah.
So. But I'm glad that the husband was like, no, even if I was, I wouldn't sleep with you.
Yeah.
That kind of made me, like, feel good that he put Lisa in her place.
Yeah, good husband. Am I the asshole for telling a guest to leave my horror movie party?
I mean, you must have had a good reason. I feel like if you're telling someone to get out of your party, it's because they're being unruly and rude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get the fuck out.
I invited several people to a horror movie party a few weeks ago, and the party was last night. The invitation was worded, if you want to watch some of my favorite horror movies with me Saturday, June 15th, come over by 9:30 p.m. Booze and snacks will be provided. Feel free to bring additional alcohol if you would like, but there is no obligation. Please don't bring any food. That's exactly how the invitation was worded. 5 people accepted my invitation. On the night in question, everyone arrived, I made them drinks, and we started watching the original The Thing. After The Thing, I put on Nope. One of my guests said, I don't like this movie. Can we watch something else? I said no. I'd already picked out which movies to play. He said he really didn't like the movie and would rather skip it. I said, that's not really how invitations work. When you throw your own party, you get to pick the films. This is my party. If he had a preference, he should have reached out in advance to ask what movies we were watching. He said I said we were watching horror movies. So he was expecting something like Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th. The Thing and Nope are more sci-fi than horror. I said they are sci-fi and horror, but mainly horror. He said he would just leave if we watched Nope, and I said okay.
They're both being very pedantic in their... Well, this technically isn't horror, but technically it is horror. And, and I feel like they're both very rigid in their views, and neither one is willing to compromise.
He left, and one other guest left with him. This morning, I got a text from my second guest who left saying I was really rude, and being a good host means accommodating your guests. I don't understand what the benefit to me in that is. You come over to my house to eat my food and drink my booze. You don't then get to pick the movie. If you invite me to your house to eat your food and drink your booze, I assume you pick the entertainment. My friend said I'm being intentionally obtuse. I don't think I am. I think they are both entitled. Who's right?
I don't know. I think I'm not sure if this was a hill to die on. Like...
On either side.
On either side, right? I don't know if most people would consider changing your plans for the party, like what movies you're watching, is something that you need to do for a guest.
Yeah.
I want to know what Reddit thinks, because I'm undecided on this.
It's a middle ground so far, I think.
And I want to know, like, what everybody else at the party thought. Were they like, yeah, can we skip this movie too? Or were they like, no, we want to watch this one? Because I think you got to make sure that the majority of your guests are having a good time. So if nobody wanted to watch that movie, and you were like, no, but I planned it, we're going to watch it, but nobody wanted to watch it, that's you being a bad host then. But you don't need to change your plans just for one person if everybody else was okay with the plan. So I want to know what the other friends were thinking.
I think it comes down entirely to those other friends, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the Reddit replies are focused on that one sentence where he's said,
I don't know what the benefit to me would be.
Yes.
That one made him seem very entitled and like the asshole.
A lot of people on Reddit are saying, like, that makes it seem like you're either on the spectrum or a single child.
Yeah. And if he is on the spectrum, I totally understand if someone tries to derail your plans and you're like, but this is how I planned it.
Uh-huh.
It would take me time to adjust to a change in plans. Because, no, that's not how the night was supposed to go. So I do kind of get that. But also, you do want everyone to have a good time. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of it depends on what the group wants to do. You're here to have fun, not to watch movies, I guess.
Although I do have to say, if someone put on The Christmas Story, I would probably leave the room and go hang out in the kitchen. I hate that movie so much. So I also get where the friend is coming from. If it's a movie he absolutely hates and he never wants to watch ever again. But just, don't complain about it. Just go chill in the kitchen with, that one buddy that left with you and you two hang out in there and have a good time until they switch movies again.
Yeah, there's merits to both sides. I think a lot of people suck here.
Yeah.
Oh, not a lot. 2 people suck here.
2 people suck here.
And that one person that left with them probably just got caught up in it.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever text someone and be like, hey, you were really rude last night. I feel like that's rude, texting someone to tell them they're rude.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I agree.
I think I'm too much of a non-confrontational, smooth things over person that I would not be texting someone else to call them out on their behavior unless it was egregious, and this is not.
Part of it could be hey, their feelings, you text your buddy and be like, hey, their feelings are kind of hurt, and be trying to keep the friend group kind of civil.
Yeah.
So there is some. It depends on how the text went. We don't know anything about that, right?
Yeah, we only have his point of view of how it went, so.
A lot of people are also saying, hey, if you don't want to have an argument over movie selection, send out in the invitation, hey, these are the movies we're going to watch.
Yeah.
And then that person just won't turn up. I'm going to read this comment. Yeah, if there's a strict itinerary, then write the itinerary. I hosted a horror movie night and explicitly said we were watching the Sharktopus movies. And that worked great, because the only people there wanted to watch the bad shark horror movies. I've never seen Sharktopus or Sharknado.
Me either, actually. I don't watch horror movies, but I think I would really enjoy the campy bad horror movies.
I don't know. Yeah, once they're that level of campy, they almost aren't horror anymore, right? That's like saying Tremors is horror.
Oh, yeah. I did love Tremors.
I love Tremors. All right, so we're kind of... I think we went everyone sucks here.
Yeah.
Reddit is mostly against the poster for that one comment.
Yeah, I was like, it could have been everyone sucks until he made that comment, and then I'm like, okay, you're just being an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't see what the benefit to me was.
Yeah, they're saying it comes off as you think relationships are purely transactional.
Yeah. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, give us a follow so we can keep making fun videos for you guys.
Yeah, join the community. We have cookies. You can't have any.
Only cookies for us.
What's going on anymore?
Am I the asshole for calling my hot-tempered guy coworker emotional to embarrass him into calming down?
I'm going to say no. I think it's kind of funny. But also, if you told a female coworker that they're being emotional, then you would be the asshole. So maybe you are the asshole.
So, I'm an engineer and I'm working on a team with 7 decently chill guys and 1 guy with anger issues. He can't just have a respectful disagreement. He'll raise his voice and yell and get up close to your face. I hate it.
He gets right up close to your face?
And yells.
That's not
anger
okay.
issues.
That's beyond anger issues. Or, I mean, it is anger issues, but it's more extreme than I thought.
So, I started by just complaining to my boss about it, and he brushed it under the rug, saying, he is just like that. And if I thought he was bad now, I should have seen him 10 years ago before he mellowed out.
Oh, okay.
It makes me wonder what he was like 10 years ago, because he sure ain't mellow now.
I can't get over it. He's getting up in people's faces. That's when it's okay to hit him. Depending on how close he is yelling to you, that's just a threatening behavior.
It's also a small enough company that there's no HR, only the corporate management, which didn't help. So I took a different approach. I stopped calling him angry, or calling what he was doing arguing or yelling, and I just swapped in the words emotional, or throwing a tantrum, or having a fit. I was kind of hoping it would shift his reputation from domineering, big man vibes, to emotional and tantruming, weak, sad baby vibes.
I kind of love this plan.
So I started just making subtle comments. If I had a meeting with him and he got a temper, I'd mention to the other people, wow, it's crazy how emotional Jay got. I don't know how he has the energy to throw a hissy fit at 9 a.m. I'm barely awake. Or when my boss asked me to recap a meeting he missed, I told him, Dan, Jake, and James had some really great feedback on my report for this client. Jay kind of had trouble managing his emotions and had a temper tantrum again. But you know how he gets. Or when a coworker asked why he was yelling, I'd say, honestly, I don't even know. He was getting so emotional about it, he just wasn't speaking rationally. I tried to drop it in subtly, and some of my coworkers started picking it up. I don't think consciously, just saying stuff like, oh, another of Jay's fits, or something.
I love that it's working. Your whole plan to just subconsciously shift him into a whiny baby is wonderful.
I got gutsy enough to even start saying to his face, hey, I can hardly understand what you're trying to explain when you're so emotional. And again, my coworkers started picking up on it, and I even caught several of them telling him to get a hold of himself. After a while, he started to get a reputation as emotional and irrational, which I could tell pissed him off. But he stopped yelling at me as much. Anyways, he slipped once this week, and I just said, I really can't talk to you when you're being this emotional. And he blew up at me, asking why I was always calling him that. I shrugged and said, dude, you look like you're on the verge of tears. Go look in a mirror before you ask me. And he got really angry. I suggested he might start crying. That was a kind of flippant comment. He was red-faced angry, not tearful angry, and I could tell.
I love it. I love this so much.
I feel like a bit of a dick for being petty and trying to gaslight this guy into thinking everyone around him sees him like a crybaby. But it also mostly worked when the proper channels didn't. Am I the asshole for calling my coworker emotional when he got mad?
No, you handled that so much better than I would have.
I love this.
I love it. You defused it and turned it around on him. It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I feel like my response would have been to get emotional and yell back at him. If he's like in my face,
yeah,
I'm going to be like shoving him away, which is going to escalate the situation.
Absolutely.
So this was, you're right, this diffused the situation and turned it around on him, and I love that for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is probably the best way to handle it, honestly, because once you're in my face, I am purely defensive. And once you're up in my face yelling at me like that, I'm debating on if I need to hit you.
Yeah, it's just to protect myself.
Yeah, just to protect myself. If you're yelling at me, what is the next step here? And you're already this close. You're probably... Yeah, no. No, you handled it so much better than I would have. I'm so proud of you.
So I hate how men see, like, anger as, like, I'm a big, domineering man. But it is an emotion, and you're not controlling your emotions.
Absolutely.
So I love that he's technically accurate. Anger is an emotion, and you are being very emotional right now.
I so hope I remember this story next time somebody's yelling at me.
Be like, okay, I need you to calm down. Well, not calm down. Maybe don't say that. People never like you saying calm down, but be like, you seem really emotional now. Do you need to take a step back and take a minute to compose yourself?
Yeah. Is everything okay? You just seem a little emotional right now.
I love that. I can't understand you when you're being so emotional. You need to speak rationally.
That's fantastic.
I love it. I mean, is he the asshole? A little bit. He's kind of gaslighting this guy and stuff, but it is deservedly an asshole because the other guy is a way bigger asshole and has been getting away with it for years.
I think if the other person is already being an asshole, the bar for you to transition to asshole is much higher. Yeah. Right? There's like a self-defense level of assholism that you're allowed to do, and it's fine.
Good point. Yeah,
So, no, you're not the asshole, I say.
Top comment, NTA, because he is, in fact, overly emotional. Nothing you said, except maybe the tears bit, is in any way a lie or even exaggeration. Stick to the truth. Honesty is always the best policy.
Yeah.
What actually happened here is that you pushed the buttons of a macho man by using terms traditionally used to describe an emotional woman on the verge of tears. You could have made it a lot worse if you wanted to.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like they absolutely could have.
NTA, if he was a woman or femme-presenting person, these are exactly the things people would say to him with a tenth of the display. I enjoy a good script flipping.
Yeah, I have no notes to how you handled this.
Anyways, I really enjoyed that story. It made me happy, and then I was like, hee hee.
Am I the asshole for asking my partner to stop telling me to lower your volume?
Oh, this is tough, because that is extreme. That does sound condescending, lower your volume. It sounds annoying and condescending, but also, is she just extremely loud and maybe deaf and needs to go get that checked out by a doctor?
Sometimes when I get excited about a topic, I naturally start speaking louder than usual. Not shouting, just louder than normal conversation level. The thing is, I don't realize I'm doing it in the moment.
Me and my sisters all do this.
I'm aware.
Is this why you picked this story? Because
No.
it is a very my family problem.
That is not why I picked it, but I am very aware that you and your sisters share this problem. When this happens, my partner will often interrupt me mid-sentence to ask me to lower my volume. I don't think that they mean it in a rude way, and I understand that they probably just want the conversation to stay at a comfortable level. That's fair. But every time it happens, I feel demoralized and a little self-conscious. I lose my enthusiasm and no longer feel like talking about the thing I was excited about. Even if they don't mean it harshly, it still feels dismissive and discouraging. I've tried to explain how it makes me feel, but they still keep interrupting me. Am I the asshole for wanting them to stop interrupting me like that? Or do I just need to accept that I should keep my volume in check? Even if it's hard because I don't always realize when I'm doing it.
Okay, I feel for both people here because I do this, me and my sisters do this where we get louder when we get excited and we do not realize it until we're all giggling and shrieking and screaming and shouting at each other because we're so excited. I know we don't realize we're doing it.
Uh-huh.
But if someone tells us like, hey, you're very loud, it does like bring the mood down immediately. And we're all like, oh, and then not excited about whatever we were talking about anymore because we're all, So I do kind of get how she doesn't realize she's doing it and him bringing it up that way is immediately killing the vibe of her excitement, But I also get his perspective because I get migraines a lot and noises trigger them. And when my sisters are scream giggling, sometimes I'm like, guys, can we keep it down a little? This is getting out of hand. So I get both perspectives. And I have never found a good way to tell my sisters, hey, we need to tone it down a little without killing the vibe. So does Reddit have any advice?
I mean, you covered everything I wanted to say pretty much. Reddit is kind of leaning towards no assholes here.
Yeah, I get both perspectives, but there has to be a better way to, for him to remind her to check her volume without killing the mood.
Especially, if you're in public.
Yeah.
Which is, you and your sisters don't usually do it in public.
No, we do try to keep... It's when we're all gathered and doing family dinner at my parents' house.
Exactly. That's why it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. But, we all have sat in the restaurant next to that person and been like, man, I just want to throw a fork at them.
Yeah. So does Reddit have anything else to say?
Top comment. No assholes here. My family and I tease each other about something like this all the time. We call it the self-awareness rule. Basically, now that you know that when you get excited, you talk too loud, you can be more aware of it, and then try and keep your volume lower.
I'm just saying, I've been well aware of the fact that I do this for 20 plus years, and I've never been able to in the moment realize that I'm doing it and correct myself.
I struggle with crazy migraines sometimes, and all I have to do is tell my family, lower your volume just a bit, and they do so. They know I love them, they know I want to hear and enjoy what they're saying, so they lower their voices so I can listen and partake. One family member in particular was sensitive to this at first, and felt as you do now. I had a conversation with them along the lines of, I love you, I know you get excited, and I love your excitement. To partake in your excitement too, I would like your volume to lower just a bit. I think the most important thing to remember about this specific scenario is that you're not being told to shut up or be quiet. Your partner probably just wants a conversation at a normal tone where the volume isn't a distraction to your excitement. Unfortunately, you might just have to learn to be less sensitive about it, focus on the fact that your partner clearly cares about what you're saying enough to try and actively and comfortably listen to what you're talking about.
I almost feel like they need a little hand signal so that he's not interrupting her story and her excitement and it doesn't sound as rude. Lower your volume is I don't know, that seems demanding and condescending to me. But if you just had a little hand signal or just to let her know, hey, you're getting a little loud without interrupting her story, then she could rein it back in without losing her excitement, I feel.
Maybe something's quiet, but it would still kind of kill the mood a little.
A little, but I do feel like it'd be less than...
You're not telling them to stop talking for a second while you get out this sentence. You just be like...
Yeah.
Maybe a squirt bottle.
No. That's rude. Definitely.
Exactly. That's what you say. No, that's rude.
Definitely killing the excitement.
I get you're happy to be speaking to someone who cares about something you care about. However, speaking as someone whose partner is the same as you in this situation, it's very hard to sit trying to engage with someone when they are essentially shouting in your face. To you, it might not seem like you're shouting, but trust me, from their side of it, you really are. And the natural human reaction to being shouted at is negative. I'll give it a not the asshole because you don't mean it, but if you are stubborn, it'll push you into the asshole territory.
Yeah, I feel like neither of them are assholes, but she needs to be less sensitive about it, and he needs to come up with a more polite way.
I kind of like your hand signal idea.
Yeah, he needs to come up with a more polite way to, like, let her know she's getting a little too loud.
Chances are they're not doing it to be rude, right?
Mm-hmm. But I know he's not doing it to be rude, and he's trying to get it out as quickly as possible to not interrupt her story.
Mm-hmm.
But can you lower your volume? Sounds rude.
Yeah, and I understand doing it in the middle of a sentence, too, because chances are they are not breathing in between sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gotta get it out there wherever you can. Yeah, all people on Reddit are really saying is just try to laugh with it.
Am I the asshole for not serving as much food as I know my dinner guests will want to eat?
I kind of feel like you are. You invited people over and you made less food than you need? That sounds kind of asshole-ish.
Okay.
Unless you're doing like tapas?
Just like little hors d'oeuvre snacky
Yeah,
foods?
if you're doing like an hors d'oeuvre snacky thing and you're like, well, I don't want anyone to eat a full meal here. You're like, we're not doing full meals, but it sounds like you purposely are underfeeding people, which is a crime.
First, I want to be clear that I do not believe in body shaming or food policing. Having lost 100 pounds myself and working on another 50, I have no place to judge anyone for what they eat. I pride myself on being a generous host who makes my guests comfortable and feeds them well. Nobody leaves my house hungry has always been my rule.
It sounds like they do, though.
The problem? I have a friend group who meets monthly at either my or Joan's home for dinner. Nobody else has enough space to host. Recently, Polly announced that she has a girlfriend, which made us all very happy. Polly has been lonely for a long time. I was the first to host Melissa. Melissa is 500 to 600 pounds. I've never met anyone that big, but I hid my surprise and was warm and welcoming. No problem, I have sturdy furniture. For dinner, I served bowls of salad, then soup. Melissa insisted on keeping her empty bowls at the table. I didn't think much of it. Then I brought out the main course. 2 9x13 pans of 14-layer lasagna cut into 8 pieces each.
Oh, that was a lot of math. Okay, keep going.
2 9x13 pans of lasagna.
14 layers. Is that a lot
Cut
for
into
a lasagna?
14 layers does seem like a lot for a lasagna.
I don't know. I've never counted the layers when I make a lasagna.
So, pretty much it's 2 big lasagnas cut into 16 pieces.
Okay.
There were 10 of us all together. I told people to dig in as I got the bread out of the oven. When I got back to the dining room, everyone looked so shocked I thought my cat had farted. His mouse farts could suffocate an elephant. Then I saw that Melissa had 4 pieces of lasagna heaped on her plate, 2 in her salad bowl and 2 in her soup bowl. Polly was glaring like, "Don't you dare say a word." Melissa seemed utterly oblivious. I didn't know what to do. I just sat down. Joan and I shared 1 piece of lasagna and everyone else got a full piece. So she took an entire lasagna for herself.
I'm just baffled by, I'm baffled by a lot of things here. For one, that's super rude. No, you're not the asshole. I take everything back I said. If you're gonna eat a whole lasagna, just take the pan and put it in front of you. Why are you distributing it across all these bowls and things? You're getting
because then it's obvious that you're eating a whole lasagna if you're eating it straight out of the pan. This way, it's all served on plates and it's not as obvious. She took 8 pieces of lasagna for herself and then left 8 pieces for the remaining 9 people.
She's such an asshole. What do you mean? Why is Polly glaring like don't say anything? This is fightable.
I mean, I get don't shame people for how much they eat, but if they don't leave enough for everybody else, you absolutely should shame them.
She didn't even just take the extra 6 pieces.
Yeah.
She took food off of other people's plates.
Joan and I shared 1 piece of lasagna and everyone else got a full piece. I cut the cake into equal portions for dessert, but I had to make an extra batch of sauce and get an extra tub of ice cream out. Melissa ate at least a liter. The next month, on Joan's turn, she served every course pre-plated, and when Melissa asked for extra, Joan apologized and said there was none. Truth, Joan is very organized and precise. Melissa and Polly left right after dinner, and Polly texted Joan, berating her for controlling Melissa's eating. Polly also texted me saying she trusted I'd be sensitive to Melissa's needs on my next turn.
It sounds like Melissa needs to control her own eating. I'm not saying she has to eat less. I'm saying she needs to eat beforehand. It is not their job to feed. It's their job to give you a meal, not like cater to your dietary needs to this extent.
But I do like that Joan learned from past months' mistakes. It was like pre-plating everything.
Joan is sneaky. I like it.
That turn is almost here. My plan was roast dinner, pork and beef. I can easily make lots of cheap veg and dessert, but meat is pricey right now, and I'd have to serve twice the normal to satisfy Melissa. I know I cannot just trust that she'll take a tenth of what's there, considering she grabbed a whole lasagna last time. So, do I suck it up and just buy much larger roasts? Do I make a few batches of cheap soup and biscuits and serve that rather than strain my budget? I don't want to upset Melissa or be a stingy host, but I have never dealt with someone like this before. I was obese, but I would have eaten maybe 2 pieces of lasagna, not 8. Do I serve a reasonable sized meal and tell Polly and Melissa, sorry, that's all I have? Am I the asshole if I serve less food than I know my guests will want?
I mean, you're in a weird position here, but I feel like you have to confront them a little. I feel like the solution here is not subtle, and I'm sorry about that, but you gotta be like, hey, you took more than...
You took half of the food.
Yeah, you took half the food. What do you can't take half the food. I'm sorry that you have a big appetite, but eat beforehand.
Yeah, it's like, I will provide you one normal proportioned meal. If you want more than that, you need to eat before you come.
Hell, you can have seconds, it sounds like.
Yeah, but but not eighths.
Yeah, that's crazy. You gotta have a certain amount of self-control in just polite society.
Yeah. It's not that they're shaming her for overeating. They're shaming her for being impolite and taking food off other people's plates.
That's it, exactly. They're like, hey, you took food from other people. You can't do that. That's toddler behavior.
Comment, let Polly know she needs to start chipping in to feed her girlfriend or they don't get invited.
That's the other thing. I'm like, I don't know if you'd come back a second time.
The alternative is to have it at her place even though there isn't enough room.
Is no one else chipping in on these meals?
Oh, they are. Sorry, there was an update. I didn't want to bring that. This was an edit.
Okay.
Everyone in the group who doesn't cook, so 7 people before Melissa joined, chips in $25 per meal to whoever hosts.
That's nice.
That, until inflation got so bad, covered enough of the food costs to make it feasible. Joan and I have both been simplifying our menus a bit to deal with rising costs, but the idea is to give ourselves and our friends a night off from the humdrum world and pretend we live glamorous, elegant lives. We use fine china and dress nicely and play classical music. Right before Melissa, I was going to ask if we could increase the chip-in to $30 a plate. I have the most resources out of anyone in the group, and I can afford to go out of pocket a bit more than Joan. None of the rest have money, space, or culinary skills to put this together. Joan and I can cook like Julia Child. We are a ragtag lot with a variety of neurodivergences and mental health issues. These meals give us something special to look forward to. So everybody chips in money. It doesn't seem like Joan and OP mind cooking and hosting.
No, that's fine then. I think they're doing that in a good way then. That was my main thing is like, I'm not saying you can't just invite your friends over to feed them all the time, but at a certain point you gotta chip in a little or go cook at their place or something.
Yeah. NTA, she ate an entire lasagna by herself. She didn't even make sure there was enough for everyone else to eat. I'd straight up uninvite her or tell her she is being rude. Polly is being a really bad friend and partner.
Yeah, you gotta call them out a little. It's a friend group.
Yeah.
You can't just let somebody bulldoze their way around the friend group. They're not gonna stay in the friend group that way. I'm sorry that there's a little bit of conflict, but that just happens.
I'd be so mad if I cooked lasagna and then was serving it up and someone did this and that meant that I didn't get a piece of the lasagna I cooked because I was being a good host and making sure everyone else got a piece.
Right.
At least Joan split a piece with her, so she got half a piece of lasagna. That would still piss me off, though. I want that food that I made.
That's a lot of pasta.
Update number 1. Excrement is hitting the fan right now. I thought I was safe because I knew Polly didn't use Reddit, but apparently Melissa told an online friend about 14-layer lasagna, and that friend saw the post and showed it to her. Stupid me wanting to show off my culinary prowess. Apparently, I'm not the only one this has happened to. I was silly to think, oh, it couldn't happen to me. I think she means someone finding her Reddit post.
Oh.
And connecting the dots that it's her.
You told us how many people in a friend group eat an entire lasagna.
Yeah, I mean, she changed the names, but it's still pretty obvious if this happened in your friend group and you found this on Reddit, you'd be like, that's me and my friend group.
I really want to know what Melissa was telling her friend about the 14-layer lasagna.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, I went to my girlfriend's friend group, and I just ate an entire lasagna. Maybe it was a good lasagna. She's like, 14 layers.
Yeah, I need that recipe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Also, everybody in the comments was asking for the recipe. So she did post the recipe, but I'm not going to read that to you.
I kind of want to read it later, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we always link the Reddits in the comments.
Yeah.
So,
Melissa and Polly are at my house now, enraged, and my dad, the semi-retired crisis counselor, is talking to them whilst I wait downstairs in my suite and cry. Yes, I am hiding behind my parents, but they are calmer and more objective, and I am too anxious to have a rational conversation with Polly and Melissa. Update, it sounds like they've split them off. Dad is in one room talking to Melissa, Mom is in another talking to Polly. I cannot get close enough to eavesdrop, and my damn cat won't tell me what he's hearing.
does she live with her parents?
I don't know.
Or did her parents just come over to try to calm this down? Either way.
Yeah. Might as well take this time to answer some common questions. 1. The chip-in has been $25 per person who doesn't cook. Joan and I never pay regardless of who hosts. So we have been working off a budget of $175 because the group is 9 people and 7 pay. Last night and this morning we decided... Does that make sense?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I forgot Melissa wasn't in the initial. Okay.
Yeah, so 9 people in the original group. 2 of them do the cooking and never chip in.
I mean, 175 for 9 people. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. Last night and this morning we decided to increase the chip-in to $35. As of this moment, Melissa is only invited if she sticks to the appropriate portions because no matter how much she pays, the rest of the group does not want to watch her eat like that. Is that mean? I don't know. But given the yelling from upstairs, I don't know if she or Polly will ever return.
I mean, if you're paying $35, it's not all you can eat. You're paying $35 for a plate of food. That's like going to a restaurant. You're not getting to take extra lasagna unless you pay more money. I think that's perfectly reasonable.
2, for those who think I cannot have sturdy enough furniture, my dad is a very large man. My now deceased Opa and my uncle custom built most of the furniture in the house.
I don't think that furniture is pretty sturdy. People just don't know how much stress things can take.
3, Polly has helped me through a lot and has had a very difficult life, so I'm loath to upset her. I understand now that I need to grow a spine and that I don't need to be a doormat.
That's good.
Polly sees Melissa's issues as a disability we should accommodate. She compared it to Dad building a wheelchair ramp onto the front porch for my granny and auntie. But I now understand that letting Melissa gorge is not a kindness. It's enabling a very dangerous behavior. She could keel over in my dining room, and we do not want to deal with all the paperwork that would create. I wasn't actually deprived of lasagna. Joan and I often share a piece. I've had bariatric surgery and cannot eat much, and Joan prefers salad and bread and only a small portion of something as rich as lasagna.
Still, to force you to have to take a half is different, I guess.
Please don't call Melissa derogatory names. This is not about hating on fat people. I was looking for advice on how to approach her obesity and food addiction behavior with fairness and compassion. Also, thanks for all the kind and helpful things people said. Some of the douchey ones gave me a laugh, like the idiot who thought that 2 enormous lasagnas don't feed 10 people. I'll write another post when things are resolved.
They wouldn't if you didn't have like salad and soup beforehand and bread and a dessert. This was a very nice meal that she made up for $175.
Update. That day they came to my house, I did eventually speak to Melissa and Polly after they calmed down. Melissa has always dreamed of having friends who would accept her as she is and be in a group where she can eat the way she does without judgment. Polly believed that I would provide that. I told them that I cannot because I almost ate myself to death and helping someone else do it is too much. Also, most of my other guests were uncomfortable. I said I would provide double portions to Melissa, which is a lot of food, but no more. I did not mention the cost because I didn't want them to offer to pay as a way around it. They said they'd think about it, but Polly messaged me a few days later and said that she could not forgive me humiliating her partner online unless I showed true remorse by giving Melissa what she needs, an unlimited buffet at my home. So our friendship is over. Another member of the group has sided with Polly, upset at the fact that I discussed this online. So that's where we're at. My group has shrunk, will grow again. There are a few people we are going to discuss who might make good additions. But we skipped this month's party because of the stress and drama. As to whether I should have discussed it online at all, I've decided that I'm not sorry for that. I changed enough details that someone outside of the circle would not recognize it. I needed advice and I thought anonymously online would be better than asking a bunch of people I knew because I did not want to tell people who knew Melissa what had happened.
I think it just sounds like Polly's trying to blackmail you with that, like, to get more things. Like, that, they don't sound like a great friend.
Yeah.
I know they helped you or whatever, and you got through some tough times together, but it's no longer a healthy relationship.
Polly is now enabling her new girlfriend Melissa's food gorging.
Yeah.
And is unwilling to let anybody stop her from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not your responsibility to feed someone an entire lasagna every month when you have a party. So
yeah. I want to know how good their friend group is that they have people like backups lined up.
Yeah, like people on a waiting list to get into this friend group.
Right.
Well, if anybody decides they're leaving the group, I would like to apply to the position.
Here's my business card. I make an excellent friend. And my apartment is far too small to host people, so you can do all the cooking.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for locking the office fridge after someone kept stealing my lunch?
Okay, locking it means nobody else can get in it to get their lunch. That does seem like an asshole move. I think there's better ways to deal with someone stealing your lunch.
I, 34 male, work in a small office with about 10 people. We share a communal kitchen, including one fridge. Over the past month, my lunch has been stolen 5 times. Not just random snacks, entire homemade meals I bring from home. Gone without a trace. It's not just frustrating, it's expensive and messes up my day. I mentioned it a couple of times in the group chat. Like, hey, someone's been taking my lunches, please stop. Everyone either ignored it or sent vague messages like, ugh, that sucks, or some people are the worst, but no one took responsibility. So I bought a mini fridge and put it under my desk. Nothing fancy, just enough to hold my meal and a drink. I also put a little lock on it just for extra peace of mind.
Okay, not the asshole. I thought he was locking you made it sound like he was locking the fridge in the break room. No, he bought his own fridge and put it under his desk. It's his fridge. Nobody else is supposed to use it. Go ahead and lock it. Lock it all up, baby.
Yeah, he wrote that a little deceptively.
Yeah.
Since then, no more stolen lunches.
Obviously locked up tight.
Right? Well, last Friday, one of my coworkers, I'll call her Dana, 29 female, confronted me during lunch and said it was weird and selfish that I had a personal fridge. She said it made me look paranoid and not part of the team. I said I was tired of my food being stolen, and this was the only solution that worked.
It's not paranoid if it has already repeatedly happened to you. I'm paranoid someone's going to steal my lunch because it already has happened 5 times. That's not paranoia anymore. That is taking smart precautions.
Right?
Okay, continue.
It happening 5 times is a very clear trend.
Yes.
She said I should have just brought stuff I wouldn't care about losing, like snacks or microwave meals, if I was so worried.
It sounds like Dana is admitting that she's the one that's been stealing your lunch and she's pissed off she can't do that anymore.
Right? It kind of sounds like Dana's just shopping in the fridge and you had good lunches.
Yeah. I feel like Dana is outing herself here.
A couple of others have now made little comments like, don't let him see your lunch, he might lock it up, or, we get it, you're special. I'm starting to feel like the weirdo in the office just for protecting my stuff. Am I the asshole for locking up my lunch instead of letting this keep happening?
Not the asshole. Dana's an asshole because she's the one who's been stealing your lunch. I think it's like you locking up your lunch affects nobody else in the office except the lunch stealer.
Right.
So why is anybody upset about it unless they are the lunch stealer?
Yeah, everyone else joining in, like maybe they were just splitting up your lunch.
Do you think they were like, he's got a really good lunch, so once a week we're going to take his lunch and we will just raffle it off, or like a lottery, who gets his lunch this week? And so every time it was someone different because he had the best lunch in the office. But they didn't want to do it too often or he'd stop bringing his lunch in. So once a week, someone would steal his lunch and they'd take turns because he had good lunches.
Uh-huh.
And he ruined it. He ruined the office.
Yeah, you're not part of the team. This was like the most morale. This was so good for office morale.
Yeah, and you ruined it. You are not being a team player. It's a bonding experience for everyone else.
Yeah, the only person that this affects, having this locked fridge, is the person stealing the lunch and maybe the owner of the office who now has to pay like $20 more in electricity a year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. But
that's not that much. I have been in offices where like having the mini fridge is a
Status symbol?
status symbol, but not in a 10-person office.
Yeah.
In a 10-person office, you're not trying status. Everyone knows where the hierarchy is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big company thing.
Yeah. I'm glad nobody steals my lunches at work. Never had a problem with that, so...
I haven't
good.
either. I've heard horror stories of people stealing lunches. Or, like, I think one time it happened and the person was like, oh my god, I accidentally ate your lean cuisine instead of mine. I'm so sorry.
That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like, two people brought in lean cuisines and they took the wrong one.
Right. And then they're like, I really don't like lasagna, otherwise I would have just eaten yours. And they're like, no, let me go to the deli and buy you a sandwich or something.
Oh, that's really nice.
Everyone was very apologetic in the situation, both the accuser and the accused.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever worked somewhere with coworkers as horrible as this, that they would steal my lunch.
I mean, in a good office, they wouldn't stay there very long, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You gotta kind of like call them aside and be like, hey, is there something wrong at home? Like, why are you stealing food?
lunches.
Reddit agrees, not the asshole. Not the asshole. Sounds like Dana is hangry now that she doesn't have free lunch.
She was counting on that food.
It's not, they're very much agreeing with you. It's not paranoia if it's true. Dana told on herself by confronting OP. Guaranteed, no one else cared about a fridge OP bought with their own money. Although it sounds like they did.
I don't think they cared about it until Dana started making comments on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, that is a little weird. But I bet if Dana hadn't brought it up, no one else would have either, because Dana's the only one that was stealing, presumably.
Yeah.
So it's like, it doesn't affect anyone else, so I doubt anyone else would have brought it out until Dana brought it to their attention.
Somebody else points out that now that you're locking up your lunches, they're probably all getting their lunches stolen.
Yeah, so it does affect other people.
It does.
Who's Dana stealing from now?
Yeah. What makes her think that you want your microwave lunch stolen either? You make a plan for any food, even easily replaceable snacks. That's what I'm planning to eat at lunch.
Yeah, I'd be mad because I do plan out my food, like what I'm eating when, and if I don't get that food, I'm going to be hangry.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to go buy something downstairs in the cafeteria, you know, and that's like not cool.
No.
Then I'm spending money that I don't have instead of the cheap food I brought from home.
Right. Stealing somebody's lunch triggers something primal. Like, hey, my food.
Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister's family live in my house after they sold theirs for a dream vacation?
That's the dumbest thing they could have sold it for. No, you're not the asshole. It sounds like they're very irresponsible people. I don't want them in my house.
So I, 32 male, own a modest 3-bedroom house that I've been paying off for the last 10 years. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine, and I'm proud of it. My sister, 29 female, and her husband, 31 male, are the typical free-spirited types. They've always talked about quitting the rat race, living life to the fullest, all that. Well, a few months ago, they finally did it. They sold their house during a booming market, thinking the profit would fund a year-long break for travel.
Okay.
What was their plan for when this year of travel was up? I'm sorry.
They're too free-spirited to think that far ahead. I don't know. I was like, did they buy like an RV? Can they live in an RV?
They believed they could stretch the money by traveling cheaply, staying in hostels or Airbnbs, and getting by with occasional odd jobs. At first, they stayed in nicer places and ate out a lot, thinking they had plenty of cushion, but within 2 months, they were out of money. They underestimated how quickly expenses would pile up, especially with 2 young kids, 7 female and 5 male, to feed and care for.
What are you doing this crazy plan when you have kids that young?
Now that their funds are drained, they've decided to stop full-time travel, but don't want to settle down yet. Instead, they asked to live with me rent-free for the next 10 months while they figure things out. They said they'll still try to take some occasional trips if they find super cheap deals, but for the most part, they want to stay at my house. I told them no, my house isn't big enough, I don't want the disruption, and I certainly don't think it's fair for them to live off me because their plan failed. I offered to help them find an affordable rental or even cover part of their expenses for a couple of months so they could get back on their feet, but that wasn't enough. My sister blew up at me, calling me selfish and accusing me of being jealous of her adventurous lifestyle.
I don't think he's jealous at all.
To make it worse, my parents are siding with her, saying that family should help family and that I'm being too rigid. The thing is, my parents live in a small apartment and can't take in my sister's family, which is probably why they're pushing it on me. They say I don't understand the value of experiences and that I should be more supportive. Some of our mutual friends are also saying I should be more understanding, but I think it's completely unreasonable to expect me to house their whole family for nearly a year just because they didn't plan properly. Am I the asshole?
Not at all. I don't know how. I'm stunned that so many other people are on sister's side.
Right? That seems insane to me.
That's crazy.
They sold their house.
Yeah, they sold their house and they were going to travel for a year. And they fell 10 months short of their goal?
They made it 2 months before they ran out of money.
How little did they sell their house for?
I want to know, how little did they sell their house for, or how extravagantly were they traveling? Because it's not like they bought an RV, like a cheap RV, and were driving that around. They were staying at Airbnbs.
And hostels. But
yeah, Airbnbs can be expensive, and then they were eating out all the time. That's expensive.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the kids, though.
I feel very bad for the kids, but I don't know how there's nothing you can do unless you're going to call Child Protective Services.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can just take in the kids.
Yeah, and not the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they would go for that, but also not his responsibility to take care of their kids.
It is not, but I they are your niece and nephew,
Mm-hmm.
So I would consider it more than the completely unremorseful sister who's like, while we're staying with you, we might still travel a little instead of trying to get my life together.
But also, we're not going to pay you rent. What money we do have is going to go towards travel because experiences are valuable.
Yeah.
And you should understand that.
No, if you had said like, hey, can we move in with you for a while to get back on our feet? We're going to look for work. The adding in that we're still going to travel makes it completely like you're just here to take advantage of me.
Yeah, I do not like it.
It's past helping family out.
It's letting them walk all over you and take advantage of you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not on him to support his sister's travel lifestyle.
Sounds like parents need to get their act together, get a mortgage, and let the sister move in with them.
Yeah, parents need to get a bigger house so the sister can live with them.
Yeah, they're paying rent on that apartment. That could be a mortgage.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's crazy. What was their plan when they were done with this year of traveling anyways? Because they'd be out of money by then.
Right.
Where were they going to live
That's his
while
house.
they got jobs? Were they planning on getting jobs?
I don't know.
Were
Were the kids not in school?
5 and 7, so possibly 7 should be in like 1st or 2nd grade, right?
Yeah. I don't think they're in the United States because the hostels are not an option here. I don't think. Are there hostels in the U.S. anywhere?
I don't know.
I've never heard of one.
I don't know.
Okay. No, you're definitely not the asshole. I don't...
Yeah, you're definitely not the asshole, and I want to know what your sister's real plan was.
I'm so worried about your sister, and it's not your responsibility she doesn't want to be saved.
She makes the worst life choices.
And she's still making them.
Yep.
At a certain point, you gotta be like, well, come back when you're ready to fix things, but not till then.
At what point does sister realize that her dreams are not going to work out and she's got to come back to reality?
There's better ways to achieve your dream of traveling for a year.
Yeah. I cannot imagine being that irresponsible. It would cause me so much anxiety. I need the security of having a place to live and a plan.
At 29 and 31, yeah, you gotta be a little better than that.
Taking a year to travel is something you do when you're 18, fresh out of school.
That's your gap year.
Your parents are footing the bill.
Yeah, your parents are rich enough that you can take a gap year. Yeah.
Not when you're 30 and have 2 kids that you're responsible for.
Yeah, she lost so much more credibility in my mind once there's children in this.
Mm-hmm.
No, you gotta be responsible for them. What does Reddit think? I'm sure that they all must be on sister's side, right?
Tough comment. They say I don't understand the value of experiences. Tell them that you don't value the experience of having freeloaders in your house indefinitely. NTA.
I value the experience of having a roof over my head.
I would have just started laughing uncontrollably and wouldn't have been able to answer for at least 5 minutes. Then they should value the experience of homelessness. OP should tell them, sorry, I'm selling my house to go travel the world. I was so jealous of your lifestyle, I'm going to go do the same now.
Yeah. I'm thinking like they sold their house during a booming market. The market is still booming.
Yeah.
Like the market never stopped booming. It's getting worse. It's not like the housing market's gonna crash and you're gonna buy a cheap house later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Reddit thinks the sister is insane, and he's not the asshole.
Yeah, firmly agree with Reddit.
Family helps family when they actually need help. Your sister and husband don't need help. They can get jobs and rent a place to live. They are choosing to be lazy and not take care of themselves and their kids.
I mean, it sounds like they need help, but they don't want help. Or they're not trying to help.
They're not trying to help themselves, so why should you help them?
Yeah, you can't save someone that doesn't want to be saved.
Tell your parents directly that you are not going to subsidize the irresponsible lifestyle of two healthy adults who are fully capable of getting a job and renting a place to live, and that any further bullying from them or your sister will only result in going no contact until the bullying stops.
I mean, that's a very good point. But, like, a lot of the people on Reddit, when they're, like, in the top several comments, write so formally.
Yes.
And I can't imagine going to any of my family
saying it worded that way.
Yeah.
It does sound very good on paper, but I think speaking it does sound weird.
Yeah. I can't imagine being like, I can't...
will not subsidize your lifestyle.
Yeah, I can't imagine being like, I will not subsidize your lifestyle. Be like, no, you're being a crazy bitch. Am I the asshole for eating ice cream every night, just like I always do, and not stopping just because my sister-in-law doesn't want my niece to see it?
No. Eat your ice cream.
Treat yourself.
She shouldn't have to change her diet just because sister-in-law wants her to and thinks it's setting a bad example for the niece.
Most nights after dinner, I eat a small ice cream cone. It's literally the little Joy mini cups with a teeny scoop of ice cream. Maybe a big scoop if I'm having a rough day, but that's kind of rare. I don't drink alcohol or smoke weed or do anything fun, so this is my one fun thing I do for myself. My brother and his wife and daughter are staying with me for a few weeks. I'm happy to have them here. Usually we eat dinner together and go our separate ways for the evening. They watch a lot of TV, so they're usually all in the living room watching. I've been eating my little cone, but my sister-in-law approached me and asked if I could stop. She said that my niece is starting to ask why she doesn't get to have ice cream, and that obviously she was lied to by my sister-in-law when she told her ice cream is a sometimes food. Haha. I said that I wasn't going to stop, but I could wait until she was in bed. I figured that was a good compromise, and I do get that she's trying to raise her little girl to have a healthy relationship with food. But waiting until she was in bed didn't work, because she came into the kitchen multiple times to ask me for some.
Okay. I don't know what to do with that. She tried to compromise, but niece is making it difficult by not staying in bed. Sounds like mom needs to parent a little better.
My sister-in-law was definitely a little incredulous over it, and kept saying, "Really? Do you seriously need to eat ice cream every single day?" Or stuff like that. I said no, but she also doesn't need to drink a glass of wine every day either.
Ooh, calling her out.
She didn't like this and sighed a bunch and has been visibly annoyed with me since then. My brother asked me if I could stop just to avoid the drama, but I said I deserve my little treats. Am I the asshole?
Not the asshole. Sounds like she's eating a small amount of ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she's eating it every day, eating like a small portion is showing the little girl that eating good foods in moderation is okay. And that's going to teach her to have a healthy relationship with food. Banning your kids from having any junk food has shown to have, in the long term, your kids will have a worse relationship with food and eat unhealthier when they grow up than allowing them to eat junk food in moderation when they're kids.
That makes sense. You kind of learn the self-control.
And I think like once they're, if you don't let your kids have any junk food and stuff, and then once they get out from under your control, they gorge and eat everything and have no self-control.
We all knew that kid in college.
Yeah.
Who, like, really was at that in the cafeteria with that all-you-can-eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's actually healthier to teach your kids from a young age that eating junk food is okay in moderation.
Uh-huh.
So eat small portions sometimes, you know.
I feel a little called out by that because I definitely sometimes sit down and eat the whole bag of chips.
Yeah. My mom was also like, you know, like very like, you should eat healthy. We did get junk food, but not as frequently as most of the other kids I knew. And like Oreos were a very, very, very special treat. And I always said, as soon as I go to college, I am buying myself a whole bag of Oreos and eating it in one sitting. And I did. And I made myself slightly sick.
Yeah.
I actually couldn't finish the whole thing, okay? I ate like 2 out of the 3 rows. But I gave it my best shot.
It's almost like when you catch your kids smoking and you make them smoke the whole pack.
Yeah. But I think the mother is actually teaching the daughter to have a worse relationship with the food. And I think it's good for her to see that, you can eat ice cream in moderation and still be healthy. That is assuming that OP is not obese. But it sounds like probably not.
I mean, even if she is, it sounds like she's being quite good about the little bit of ice cream.
Yeah. Also, I find it very...
She even gave a portion. She said, those little cups, which is like we all know those tiny ice cream cones.
Also, I think it's very rich that the mother is worried about eating ice cream every night when she's having a glass of wine every night.
Yeah, but...
aren't you worried about teaching your daughter that it's okay to be an alcoholic?
Well, daughter doesn't knows not to ask for that.
Yeah.
My only part of this where I'm not on OP's side is she never mentions anywhere in here, like, is she offering the ice cream to the niece at all?
I'm sure the niece asked for ice cream on the first day, wouldn't you think? You're having ice cream? Are we having ice cream? And the mom turned her down and was like, no, we are not having ice cream. I bet that's how that went.
That's how I assume it went.
Uh-huh.
But, like, is OP... It sounds like they're like, we split off after dinner, and we all ate together. Then we split off after dinner, and they go to watch TV, and I go and have my little ice cream, which makes it... It's almost sounds to me like she's not sharing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's assumptions either way.
Yeah. I do wonder, because I assumed that she had offered to share, and the mom said, no, we do not eat ice cream every night. That's a sometimes treat.
Reddit agrees, not the asshole.
Okay.
OP, I think, didn't understand what type of community she's commenting in when she told this story, because every response is going to be over the top.
Uh-huh.
And, hi, so I've decided to log off this post and not come back. This post has just gotten completely out of control with really over-the-top reactions and people trying to encourage me to make things worse or escalate and call my sister-in-law an alcoholic or to purposely eat more ice cream in front of my niece. Some of you are just, like, chomping at the bit to call people names and be sarcastic and nasty to me for no reason. That's not really what I was expecting.
Yeah, I'm sure there's people who are like, you need to go no contact with your sister-in-law and stuff, because they always way overreact.
Yeah. Or just, like, the top comment is, tell her to stop drinking wine every day. This is your home. You are an adult. Tell her to not bring wine into your home. Not the asshole. And then OP replied, I don't have a problem with her drinking wine, though. It's really not a big deal. The person replies, oh, I get that. The hypocrisy was my point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that, like, slightly over-the-top stuff, and OP's like, but I don't want to cause a fight.
Yeah, I want to not cause a fight. That's why I came here to find out how to not cause a fight. And we're like, fight,
Yeah.
fight.
I would give her ice cream every day. At least she could enjoy being a kid for a few days before she goes back to lockdown, not the asshole. And then OP replied, oh, that's a little dramatic, haha. She enjoys being a kid every day. She's not on lockdown just because she can't have ice cream every night. So it's... OP's kind of a downer.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out sister-in-law's hypocrisy because not only is, like, ice cream's not healthy for you, but wine isn't healthy for you and is a lot of calories and a lot of sugar too, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great for you.
Yeah.
In moderation, though, it's fine.
Yeah. Same with ice cream.
Yeah, I like this comment. Not the asshole. I am not really getting the fact that the kid gets out of bed to ask you for ice cream, but not the point. If the kid gets the concept of mommy drink, she can get the concept of anti-ice cream, and she can stay in the bed.
Yeah.
And then somebody else replied, I'm also confused by the kid getting out of bed. If the kid has gone to bed, how are they aware that there is ice cream? Was the kid doing that before? Does someone loudly announce that it is now ice cream time?
Ice cream time! 8 o'clock ice cream time, everybody, but not for you.
All right, well, that was our last story for this week.
Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a follow, and we'll see you next time.